A magistrate court in Yaba, Lagos on Tuesday remanded a musician, Seun Kuti, in police custody for 48 hours for allegedly assaulting a police officer. The court also granted Kuti a suspended bail that will come into effect after the remand. Seun, who is a son of late Afrobeat icon Fela Anikulapo Kuti, had on Monday surrendered himself to the police in Lagos after a video surfaced showing him assaulting a police officer. He was arraigned in court on Tuesday for the offense, which runs contrary to Section 356 of the Nigeria Criminal Code Act. The lawyer representing Seun Kuti, that's Mr. Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, joins us now to discuss the progress in police investigation of his client and the alleged offense. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Now, can you just fill us in on the latest regarding what's happening with this case regarding your client?
Oh, and nothing. The event of yesterday was that the police went to court. He wasn't charged, he wasn't arraigned, contrary to what you have in the media. There's no charge against him yet. And when a charge eventually comes, it won't be by the police, because that was one of the things the court ordered yesterday. The police went to court. He's been in their detention since Monday. Under the law, they cannot keep him for more than 24 hours. So either they charge him yesterday or they grant him bail. So what they then did instead was to seek judicial cover to enable them continue to detain him. So they went to court ex parte. Now that was one-sided, no notice to anybody, for an order from court permitting them to keep him for a further 21 days. Somehow we got wind of it, and that was what informed our presence in court, which they were not expecting. The presiding magistrate, having listened to their reason for wanting to keep him for 21 more days, and which we responded to, then decided that she was going to grant him bail instead. Midway point, okay, so go and complete your investigation within the next 48 hours. Then he's granted bail after the 48 hours. But much more significantly, you cannot prosecute as the police, considering the situation, what is involved. Once you complete the investigation within the next 48 hours or so, you send the file to the Director of Public Prosecution in Lagos, an independent body that would be able to look at what your findings are, determine what the charges are to be, and then prosecute in a non-biased manner. Because obviously, from what you are seeing all over the police, understandably, I won't say understandably, have become a party in the matter, of course. Even though it was an event between two persons, the personality of the other person involved being a policeman. So I think that has affected their ability to think straight, properly in the matter. So that gives the way they've been going about the whole thing. So I, without saying so in so many words, the presiding magistrate sensibly then said, complete your investigation, send the file to the Director of Public Prosecution in Lagos State, who will handle it professionally. So that's where we are. But after that, they then went to Mr. Kuti's house, last night in full force again. Well, they said they are investigating some other, from a statement issued by Mr. Hundenyi, who is the spokesperson, I think they said they chanced upon some other things unrelated to the case of assault they are investigating. So that informed their reason for going on a search on his house yesterday. They are entitled to, if they are investigating anything. We have nothing to hide. If they want to investigate anybody, it's their constitutional right to do so. Provided they follow the law, we have no objection. That's it.
Okay, duly noted. Now, you mentioned a few things that he was held beyond 24 hours, which goes against the provision of the law, and we've also seen that the police is being accused of media trial regarding your client and also starving your client. Using this as a premise, do we expect to see a countersuit from you?
Well, see, I try to be, careful because, Nigeria belongs to all of us, and protecting the image of the country is our own responsibility. And of all this institution, I won't say that they've been starving him. I won't say that. I only witnessed one incident.
Okay.
And that was on Monday. I think today's Wednesday. That was on Monday. The wife brought food to him, the detention. He's not eating since I was the one that took him to the station in the morning, Ikeja. Then they moved him to Manti after, the photographing, the handcuffing and all that. They then went on a long convoy with siren blaring, to Manti, handed him over. So he's not eating all day. At about, I think must be about 8 was when they invited me back to Panti. I went there, and the wife was with me. When all the whatever was going on, she was told to wait, with the food. Eventually, the officers, when the head of the station, Panti station, I think his name is, it's a deputy commissioner of police, Ayilara. Yes, I think that's his name. Ayilara, yes, had an interaction and all that, and then it was when they decided that they were not going to release him on bail, and I was leaving the stations. And one of the officers then said, "Look, the wife is still out there with the food, so that they can bring it in." And Mr. Ayilara said, "No, they can't give him food." That's when I witnessed, So, but since then they may have.
So there will not be any countersuit. Is that what you're saying? That the summary of it? You're saying there were no violations of your client's rights? You might not be submitting a countersuit?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not discussing the case. We can discuss the social whatever around the case.
Okay.
When my client makes up his mind what he wants to do, he will do it. Since I've noticed a little bit of reticence now on the part of Mr. Humdeni, who issues statements on he enjoys it, making statements and all that. So the matter is in court, so we refrain from making comments on what is going on and all that. When my clients understand that now there is a court order permitting the police to keep him for the next 48 hours, counting from yesterday. So you can't say now that the police is in violation of anything because there's a court order. Whether the court order is right or wrong is a different thing. We can debate it. As someone, it's not something I agree with, but it's a court order. So
what are your next steps based on your own limitations, what you're comfortable discussing?
No, we are waiting. The court order is very clear. Hand over the file to the director of public. There's so much. If you look, we maybe because of the personality of the person involved, and because of what they said he did. If you go on the media, I've had calls from senior lawyers, senior editors, surprisingly saying, "No, lynch him," so to say, practically, The law of the land is that, anybody that has done anything that you say is against the law of this country will be subjected to due process. That's all we are interested in. Let them charge us to court. If they believe that we have committed an offense, we are not going to be convicted on the pages of newspaper and the social media, lynch him, kill him, he's this, he's that. And you see a lot of that, all over the place. We always say that nobody is above the law, whether you are Seun Kuti or Ibrahim Babangida or Shehu Shagari or whatever. Nobody is above the law. The law is for everybody. The police institution itself is not also above the law. Conduct your affairs according to law. If you notice one of the statements I made, the police is supposed to set precept for us. We are supposed to look at the police as the symbol of legalism and all that, everything that is lawful and so on and so forth. We complain when they are not living up to that expectation. It is not because we hate them or we dislike them especially or whatever, one just has to be careful. Well, let me give you one incident that happened yesterday. They were expecting me or expecting lawyers. You know, they couldn't take a statement without a lawyer being present and all that, you know. So they were expecting us, and they had organized a reception committee, so to say, to receive us, to provoke us, you know, so to say. I've seen a lot here when people talk about the police. It's just, you have a lot of people, I think deliberately, I will put it that way, an attempt was made to provoke us. They've set cameras, you know, using their phones and all that, different places. All the officers came out at the reception and all that. They wanted to create an incident. A lawyer, a police woman, you know, I know how they call her Alaja or something in the place, referring to me as a weary lawyer, mad lawyer, you know, and so on.
Well,
they were trying to provoke an incident so that I would react and so on and so forth, you know. I just decided, when I saw what the plan was, just decided to just excuse myself from their midst so that such a thing will not happen. We need to advise them, the police, you know. They represent us, we like them, we defend them. If they do the duty of protecting us, the society also has the duty to protect the police.
We certainly wish you well.
We shouldn't personalize it and make it, you know.
But we certainly wish you well. Thank you so much for joining us. We were speaking with the Afrobeat Seun Kuti's lawyer, Mr. Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, SAN. Thank you so much, and we wish you well. Thank you for joining us on Tuesday.
Thank you.